What is up, y'all? Preseason football week 1 in the books. We have another game coming up Saturday. We're going to be getting into that tonight a little bit. It's just so glad to be back in Lucas Oil Stadium. I'm sure a lot of the fans are too. But without further ado, Sammy, let's get into it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
It's absolutely going to be sick. Chris, football is back, baby.
Yeah, boy.
Preseason week 1 in the books. But first, let's play some bills around this place. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
Sammy, if you want to bring up our sponsor real quick. Thank you. We are honored to have Homage as our new sponsor. Homage specializes in ultra comfy, high-quality looks, repping sports, pop culture, and more legendary moments. Learn more about Homage with the link in the description. As you can see here, y'all, they have Colts stuff. Nice, comfy stuff. Custom embroidery on the sleeves. I mean, this stuff's comfy as all get out, man. So get on that link. Go get you some good stuff. I mean, there's stuff on there from 90s cartoons to vintage shows like Star Wars. I mean, there's other sports teams on there as well. Baseball, basketball, you name it, it's on there. So, guys, be sure you hit up Homage and get your merch today. Chris, how you doing, big guy?
I'm doing good, man. How we feeling today?
Boy, I'm tired. It's been a long day, but I'm here now, and we got some football to talk about.
Yes, we do. Great time of year, actually.
It's an amazing time of year. We're just that 1 week closer to the regular season, but football is actually back. Can't reiterate that enough. It's back, and it's back for a long time. But let's get into it real quick. So we'll go ahead and get into the first preseason game. We'll go ahead and take your thoughts and stuff like that on preseason week 1 with the Broncos. How do you think it went?
I mean, honestly, you're looking at these preseason games like their evaluation periods.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking at that, we're noticing that, really it's just for the offense, especially with AR coming back, it's just basically getting him out there, getting those reps. He got a chance to go against, I believe it was the Broncos' first team defense, at least up front. So we got a chance to go ahead and see some of those rushes, see some of those blitzes, just to basically just like get used to that. And honestly, it's just like you expected him to be able to just go ahead and just do some things. Like I said, it's not anything that you're just like, wow, okay, this is fantastic. But he was out there, passed the ball 4 times, completed 2 of the passes, and he had a run. I'm going to say for positive yardage. It was good. I think. All eyes were on the defense. Outside of Kenny Moore, wasn't a big fan of Dallas Flowers' performance, but Micah Abraham actually looked pretty decent. So very, very happy about how that looked. So,
Micah Abraham, man, he was the highest ranked. He had the highest rating out of all the rookies this past week.
Yep, 92.2.
Wow.
Yeah,
from rookie, that's outstanding. And I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I didn't get to see the game. I didn't get to go to the game. I had stuff going on at home, some family stuff going on, along with trying to be here and be there. So I can't talk much on the game, unfortunately. But from what I could tell, obviously the starters have some ring rust to, kind of still shake off. But, it just comes with reps, just get them in there. We practice another team this week, the Arizona Cardinals. So, we're slowly getting back together. The offensive line looked, from what I could tell, pretty decent.
Yeah.
But like you said, Chris, all eyes are on the defense right now. That young defensive backfield, and we were actually talking about this in one of our group chats. That I really don't think everyone wants to blame about how young this secondary is, and that's true. But I think that's all going to come down to coaching in the end.
Yeah, it's going to, and that's the reason why I can, well, at least on offense, I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. Because even from speaking with Jen Bob Cooter, he's absolutely electric when it comes to the energy, when it comes to what he's talking about on the sideline. With Gus
Mm-hmm.
Bradley, it's a little bit tougher because you're trying to gauge, what's going on, what he's thinking. But then we also know that with this defense, it's like that front seven. It's like we saw Latu in his first preseason action, and we saw. I mean, he was getting off the ball like the flash. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that you're worried about. You're not worried about the middle. You're not worried, like even linebacker, you're not really worried about. But it's just like I said, it when it comes down to that secondary, our team's going to be able to just go ahead and just impose their will. And how is Gus Bradley going to respond to that? Is he going to just run the same defense, that same cover three where you just go and just, drop people back? Or is he going to actually adapt and just be like, listen, if we got Juju and then we got Jalen Jones, they're taller, they're stronger, they may not necessarily cover the best. Let's just go ahead and use them in some press coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be the question as to what he does to respond. But it really is just going to. I think a lot of our season is going to be hinged on health and what this defense allows.
Yeah, I mean, because defense. Obviously, it's defense. I was always taught defense wins championships, and you have to have an equal. You haven't have a connection with both sides of the ball. The offense has to be clicking. The defense has to be clicking. If one thing is off, if one weak link is there, there's no success in it. I mean, you'll have high value success, but there won't be total success as a team. To have that cohesive unit that you need to win the Super Bowl, to win playoff games, you just won't have it. And I just think right now, in my opinion, Gus Bradley is that weak link. We have the talent, we have the size in the backfield. They're very coachable kids. You know what I mean? Because that's what they are. They're all 23 or less. They're very coachable. They're very coachable. Just coach the kids up. I mean,
Yeah,
and I think too the rules of the NFL nowadays. Because if you think back when Gus Bradley had the Legion of Doom, it was more physical back then. They got away with a little bit more. Notice that there's not a whole lot of pressing with Gus Bradley anymore, like there was with the Legion. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I think he's just trying to stay uh, conservative more now. Now that the rules have changed, trying to dwindle down the flags, but you have to still throw off timing. It's still fundamental football. You have to find a way to go around that, and as well, to shake up that offense to where the timing's off. It's all about timing and rhythm. So
yeah,
it's basic things that are killing that backfield right now. And they're young. They're gonna be doing what they're told to do. So it's just like they want to respect their coaches and they want to respect what they say, and and get that connection with their coaches. But at the
yeah.
same time, Gus Bradley has to do his job and coach.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's what I've spoken about that before with Gus Bradley because it was different back then when it came to that Legion of Boom because they were able to kind of impose their will a bit more. But the problem is that they can't necessarily impose their will because of the fact that now the rules are set up to be just so much more wide receiver friendly.
Yep.
And if you really believe that the league is going to let Justin Jefferson, be covered properly and potentially lose revenue, because like I said, it's just like some of those top stars, they're going to get a little bit more treatment. I mean, we see it
Hmm.
all the time. And it's just like Pat Mahomes is a beast, but also at the same time, he gets some calls because of the fact that this is the Chiefs we're talking about.
Yep.
So I
I
mean,
mean,
it's going to be a little bit tougher. And like I said, when you're working with a younger squad, you kind of also have to coach them on how not to make those mental errors that will go ahead and just give a team extra yardage.
hmm yep, exactly. And it's just you got to find ways to adapt to this league. This league's constantly evolving, and this is
Hmm.
something now that you have a more electric offense because of the rule changes. Because that's the most exciting part of the game,
Yeah,
seeing these mobile quarterbacks, these electric receivers, these dynamic running backs. You have to adjust, almost seasonally um, to really get these rules down, to get the play calling down. I mean, you have to adapt so much. There's other ways other than possibly getting a flag to throw off the rhythm of these receivers and everything if you're a defensive back. And Gus Bradley just not figured that out yet. I don't think he knows how to. I think that now I don't want no rookie defensive coordinator as our coordinator, but like, we do need I think we need a younger mind, someone who'd be more adaptable, not set in their ways as much and not as conservative to match Shane Steichen's aggressive offense. I know him and Shane have a history together, and I respect that a lot. But I mean, at the same time, your defense is going to be wore out most of the time. It's going to, the offense can't win all the time. You can't rely on just your offense, which is obvious in the game of football. So it's fundamental things like that I think that are going to hurt us. And like you said, the health thing too. If we stay healthy, we got to stay healthy.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing about getting somebody who would be a little bit younger as far as a defensive coordinator is the fact that you're going to need somebody that's going to be able to have a good understanding of what the game is now. The problem with Gus Bradley's defense is that Gus Bradley's defense worked back then. But the problem is that it's just like I said, we saw that. I'm gonna say, and I don't know if you remember, but it's just like the first game that we played against the Seahawks, Legion of Boom. So we played against them, and I think this was Luck's second year. So Ty was able to basically dissect that defense because it was smaller guys who were shiftier, who were able to get in and out of those zones. But now, the majority of the league is what Ty was back then. Like Ty, Deshaun Jackson, like they were guys who were smaller, shiftier guys, Percy Harvin. But now everybody is smaller, everybody's shiftier, and now you got guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle who are under 6 feet, who can literally just go and just foot race you the whole entire game. And the thing is, it's just like if you're not able to adapt to that, then you're going to end up losing. Like, and that's the part that's the toughest because it's just like when it comes down to defensive guys, you need to have somebody who is able to adapt or who's able to kind of move things the way that you would like them to. And like I said, it's just like I'm not a fan of Gus Bradley's system, but also I think I'm not a fan of his system, but also I do think that, and we got to address the elephant in the room. I don't know if Ballard has done a good enough job to make sure that you're getting him the help that he needs to make sure that you don't have parts of your defense that are struggling.
Yeah. I mean, I don't wholeheartedly blame Chris Ballard. I mean, it sounds biased because we interviewed him so many times. I've gotten to know him almost on a personal level. So it sounds biased, but I mean, I'm not going to completely blame Ballard. I just man, it's just for some reason, all this just screams coaching to me. Because Ballard is bringing the talent. Juju Brent's such a big, talented corner. Kenny Moore's so talented. Even Nick Cross, I know he's in a lot of controversy right now, but, still a high talent. Thomas, I mean, all these guys are so talented. We've seen their potential even before Gus Bradley got here. And, it just seemed like, now that he's here, it's just more conservative. It's more, stay back, this cover 2 bullshit, not blitzing a whole lot. You don't see a lot of corner blitzes like you did with the Legion of Boom. And I mean, it's just like, why? What's changed other than the rules in his mind to make him play more conservative now? That's the part that's just blowing my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, it's hard to nail down any one reason why. We just know that it's really just putting everybody kind of at a disadvantage. I mean, especially when, this is a team where if the defense is able to be good, that means that the offense should be able to click and that this team could be something that could absolutely, just be special based on what it is that we know, based on what we've seen. I mean, we see the wide receivers out there daily. We saw Anthony Gould yesterday, who was doing fantastic. We've seen A.D. Mitchell just repeatedly beating guys on double routes and double moves. And Pittman is just out there doing Pittman things. And so when we're looking at every single part of this, we know that it's just like this offense, once again, health permitting, is going to be fantastic. So the thing is, if the defense is delivering, then this team is going to be special. if the defense is going to be bad, like everybody is kind of saying that it is, or everybody is thinking that it is, then that means that we're just going to be in a bunch of shootouts.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm a little bit more. I'm gonna say I'm a little bit more confident in knowing that the team should be all right, especially with the fact that I've seen how the offense has flowed, and with everything that we've seen with the wide receivers, we still got Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
So the sky's the limit when it comes down to what we're able to do. But I mean, honestly, it's just I think it's just too much over analyzing, and it's going to be different. So.
Yeah, especially like, with you saying like we have these very fast, short, speedy receivers now. Another rule just came to mind too. The hip drop tackle. How else are you going to stop? How else are you going to stop these speed receivers without getting behind them and possibly doing a hip drop tackle because you're behind them? You got to jump and dive for a tackle. It's going to be hard, to really adapt to that rule. I think there's going to be a lot of penalties this year, not just with the Colts, but around the whole league with these hip drop tackles. Because if you get beat, you have to make the play. What are you going to do? Hope the shoestring tackle every time?
Yeah, exactly. But that's a part of the game that's going to be a little bit tougher. Now, I'm going to say it's going to I feel like that also does set up things for us to be able to just kind of impose our will when it comes down to those when it comes down to the pass rush, even just run defense. Because, I mean, I do feel like we got the personnel to be able to do either or both. And, knowing that we have the personnel to be able to do things, I think it's also being aware of the fact that we know, okay, this is what we're going to be able to, like, this is how we're going to be able to impose our will. Because, I mean, generally it's just like we're not bad when it comes down to penalties. I mean, we leave that to teams like the Raiders. But but the thing is, I think we're going to play a little bit more sound. And then also Shane Steichen doesn't play that. Like Shane Steichen has proven time and time again that he's going to hold people accountable. I mean, he's held guys that Ballard just absolutely loved accountable last year, and it was just like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. Absolutely. I mean, Deion Jackson in the first game versus Jacksonville had more fumbles than he did rushing yards or yards per carry, and I don't think we saw him on the field again outside of possibly having to go in because somebody was injured, but I don't even know if that's the case. So I know that Shane Steichen isn't going to be playing any of that, which to me is very, very comforting.
It is very comforting because, I mean, that in the Frank Reich era, it seemed like accountability was not even there.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. There was zero accountability, and it was zero accountability because we were just told that we were just going to keep climbing mountains and chopping wood and, replacing car tires or whatever inspirational quote you chose to use at that particular time. It's that's what it was. But the thing is now, Shane Steichen, he's just like, all right, come on out, buddy. So it's just like everybody, and it doesn't create a nervousness. It's one of those, it's one of those pressure bust pipes. Or creates diamonds. And the thing is, more often than not, it's just like, that you're going to get a diamond out of certain people.
Yep.
But for the other guys, it's just like the other guys have to prove it. And, I mean, they're going to have to prove it because these roster cut downs are coming soon.
They really are. I mean, they're here. They already know who they're probably going to cut and who they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of that, they were saying a big name for us that got hurt last year, Jelani Woods. He could possibly not be here.
Yeah.
Already. Did you see that?
Yep. And that's tough because, I mean, he's a guy that I wanted to actually pan out. But if he's not necessarily finding his way, then, I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, I would think that maybe Mo Alley would go before Jelani Woods would because, I mean, Mo Alley's making the most, and this is in a tight end room where I don't think any one person has really separated themselves from the pack.
Significantly, no. I mean, there's moments where it's like, oh, okay, I see you. But then it's just like no one's really – I think the one who's making the most stride out of all of them right now, honestly, is Kylan Granson.
Yep.
He seems to be the most promising right now, and he's the smallest one. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the one guy who I'm gonna say he's probably and to me personally, he's probably the best route runner out of everybody
Mm-hmm.
in that group. I mean, if he's able to really just go and block and do what he needs to, like in the blocking game, I have no doubt that that's his, that tight end one role is his to lose.
Yes.
And I mean, it's that's what it's going to be. But I mean, it's really going to depend. It's really going to depend on exactly what these guys are looking at or what they're looking to do. But I mean, that tight end rule, me personally, I would like for Will Mallory to really just step up in a big way. I've been hearing his name in spurts. I
Mm-hmm.
want him to go ahead and step out because I mean, he has the intangibles. He was somebody who was just like fast coming out of the U last year. So, I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, it's still, even with Jelani out, it's still going to be a tough competition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, that's neither here or there now. We got the Bronco game out of the way. We talked some other bullshit. 'Cause that's what it is. So we have a game this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals at Lucas Oil Stadium once again. So what? So what are we going to be looking at? What do you? Okay, not we, but what are you going to be looking at the most in this game? It's still preseason. We're not looking for big plays or anything like that. What do you just looking to see the defense make better adjustments? Are you looking to see the offense be, see what to come out of the offense? I mean, what are you going to be looking for?
Um, Really, when it boils down to it, I think it's just going to be O line and just secondary again.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, Micah Abraham made an impression last week.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, what are we looking for? We're looking for him to be consistent.
Yep.
So when we're talking about, Micah Abraham being consistent and doing all those fantastic things that he does, then we're looking at, okay, well, is this somebody who's going to be able to do this week in and week out? And so if he's able to do it week in and week out, then I mean, I think you struck gold. But if it was like a one shot, then it's just be like, okay, well, you know what, maybe he was just comfortable last game and then we'll see. I think ultimately it's just like I'm just looking for guys to just really just step up. To me, Jalen Jones hasn't necessarily been doing much when it came to, I'm gonna say kind of solidifying his spot as like one of the starting outside corner or one of the starting outside corners. So I mean, with him not necessarily just going and stepping up, I think that leaves the door open for, plenty of people. Are we going to see Dallas Flowers kind of rebound from last week? Because, I mean, between the penalties and him getting beat on a bunch of plays, he didn't look good. And he was somebody that last year everybody was raving about potentially coming out of that cornerback room, just being like, oh, yeah, he's going to be the guy. And then now we're just about, oh, well, he was hurt, so we'll see what happens. But it's like, it's not looking good thus far. And I mean, it could just be because he hasn't had any actual game action. Okay, I get it. But he's going to have to prove that he's going to be able to do it, because how long can we use that? How long can we use that excuse for him coming back from injury? Because if we keep on talking about him coming back from injury and we're in week 1, that means that he's really just not ready as a whole.
Yep. Exactly. And I mean, to me, just the biggest thing is like I want to see more rust shaken off in this game. I want to see our playmakers obviously making the plays that we need. And, since we're on the topic of the defensive backfield now, we have a true test this weekend for our defensive backfield and one man, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
That big vertical receiver, and he's physical. How are we going to handle it? And he's fast. How is Gus Bradley and the defensive backfield going to be able to handle receivers like him going forward? That's what I'm going to be looking at the most, because if we can't contain, if we can't check, if we can't throw off rhythm Marvin Harrison Jr. in just a little bit of series that he will play, I'm going to be worried. I'm going to be a little worried for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to say, the way that the secondary is able to play, even if the secondary is healthy, the way that the secondary is going to be able to play through this entire season, I think is going to possibly be the make or break with Ballard. Because we can't keep on talking about the fact that we're missing things, and yet when it comes down to it, we're not getting the pieces that are needed. I mean, I don't know if you were going to wait to kind of break this, but I mean, Justin Simmons and Quandre Diggs signed for a combined $13 million.
That's ridiculous.
And the crazy thing about it is that it's just like the guaranteed is only 10.5 between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, even if you don't necessarily wholeheartedly believe in their ability as a whole, at least you know that you have guys that you're not going to be sitting there and saying, well, you know what, the competition is still up, so we're still going to see what happens. When it comes to guys that have been on the roster, like if you have 30-year vets and you're still having competition between them because you don't know which one to start, and it's not knowing which one to start because they're both playing well. It's not knowing which one to start because you don't know what you have, even though one has started for multiple seasons and then the other one has started, for multiple games last season.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, not having somebody in there like a Diggs or like a Simmons, it's not necessarily a good move. And
No,
if
it's not.
if the secondary is bad, then it's just like it's a glaring indictment on the fact that you could have had these guys and this could have happened, but you just chose not to. Because at the end of the day, it's a choice. Because there's no way that you're going to say that Diggs, that two players signed for 1-year deals and both were under $10 million, and that you couldn't get either one of them for that.
I mean, yeah, especially when you got Stephon Gilmore, not too long ago for $12 million for a 1-year deal.
Exactly.
So what was the difference? I totally get what you're saying. Totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the veteran presence more is needed as far as leadership goes. Yeah, you have Kenny Moore back there, but I think if you had more leaders back there to hold, especially, I know we keep talking about it, but Gus Bradley accountable, because you've seen Quentin Nelson, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now, hold Frank Wright accountable and say, run the ball, Frank. We see what's going on here. Run the damn ball. We got him. I don't see just Kenny Moore going up to Gus Bradley and saying, hey, we need to adjust here. We need to do this. I see this. I don't see him doing that because he's just one person. But Quentin had Ryan Kelly backing him on it. That longtime vet with the Colts O-line. So, I mean, it's just like they go together as a team, and I appreciate that so much, and I respect that highly. And Kenny Moore's just one person. I don't know if someone like Gus Bradley would listen to someone like Kenny Moore or not.
Well, it's a little bit tougher because if you remember 2 years ago, Kenny Moore, as one of our best corners, was basically like not even starting at one point. Like we had Gilmore, and then we had Brandon Faceson that came over from the Raiders with Gus Bradley. So the thing is, guys like Kenny and guys like Isaiah Rodgers weren't playing regularly, even though that they were just staples. And I mean, when Kenny was playing, he wasn't necessarily doing that well because Kenny was kind of allowed to be a little bit freer in his coverages. But then as soon as Gus Bradley comes in, then it's just like he has to play basically in a box, or he has to play a very specific zone. And I mean, you're boxing him in.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if Kenny going up isn't going to do anything. And it sucks because of the fact that that he could very easily just go and just command this defense and command this secondary. But the problem is that it's just like if Gus has him playing a certain way, you have no choice but to kind of stick with that. And if it's not working, how are you going to go and say to Gus Bradley, like, look, this isn't working, we need to change? Because Gus Bradley has shown that he can't really adapt the way that you would think he would on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I completely 100% agree. I mean, it's a rough spot right now, and it's just something we're going to have to work through, either, something with Ballard or something with Gus, signing-wise or whatever. Something has to happen somewhere.
Yeah.
We can't keep being weak. The talent's there. I don't know. It's just – I really don't know. I'm losing words to how we can fix it. I mean, I wish I knew. I mean, I'm not there. I'm not in that locker room. I'm not amongst the coaches. I don't know the playbook. I just wish I knew more. But that's all I can say. It's just like, wish we could do more and figure things out more. But I don't have any answers for it.
Yeah, it's gonna. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be hard to figure it out, but I think we're also going to have to just be very honest about the fact that if we're in any bad situations, defensively, if he doesn't respond, I mean, if this defense ends up costing us some games, I could see Gus Bradley possibly not making it through the season unless he's able to make those changes. And he hasn't shown that he has a penchant for being able to respond properly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very telling to see exactly what's going to happen. But as of right now, I think the defense is going to catch a lot of heat. I think I'm just really excited to see what our offense is going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally excited to see them go at it too when they're in full health. All the starters are out there week 1. I can't wait for that. But like you said too, though, even though our defense is stronger, it's still our weakness.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. So, but I don't trust the coaching process right now in our defensive play calling. I trust the talent that we got.
Yeah.
So I still have faith in our defense, though. Is there going to be a lot of games that are probably going to be really frustrating? Absolutely. But we have good enough leaders in there. We have Buck, we have Zaire, we have Kenny. I think we'll be okay overall, but there is going to be some frustrating games ahead.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? Like I said, I'm very much so on the Shane Steichen bandwagon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
So for me, I think it's just like the accountability isn't just going to be with the players; it's going to be with the staff too. No matter how much he likes Gus Bradley, if Gus Bradley isn't adjusting on defense, and then that defense is taking us out of games or costing us games, like I said, I can see him just saying, "Listen, love you, but you got to go."
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about Shane.
Yeah,
and then he's already shown that type of mentality already, and he's only been here 2 years. I fucking love it.
Yeah. And I mean, in that case, it's just like if that was the case, then I mean, I think this could potentially end up being a Charlie Partridge or Ron Milas takeover that could potentially happen in regards to that defense. But once again, it's just like we're getting too ahead of ourselves because it's just like we're hoping that doesn't happen anytime soon. But if it does, then we'll see.
Exactly. I mean, we still have 2 weeks of preseason left to go, but it is a game after all. So I got to ask this question. Score prediction from you, good sir. Not that it matters, but it's just fun to pick.
You know what? Let's do 24-14.
Colts?
And I'm gonna say Cardinals win this one.
Yeah.
And the only reason why is just
because good history in the preseason.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's fine because honestly, I mean, I'm gonna go back to this every single time, but I'm pretty sure the Lions one year went 4-0 in the preseason, and then they didn't win another game until like the middle of the regular season, going like 1-15. So
yeah, I think our winning Super Bowl year in 2007. I think we were like 0-4 in the preseason. We ended up winning the Super Bowl. So you just never know.
Yeah, but you know what? I like I said, I like the preseason and I like the preseason games because they allow you to evaluate a lot. Mm-hmm. So I'm just looking for them to just really just be able to evaluate, see people who, just kind of, starred and did what they needed to do last week and just continue that momentum and continue that consistency because I'll take consistent good to great plays over just one-off fancy plays any day of the week.
This is where me and you can get along, good sir. I've preached consistency on this show for almost 3 years now, and we finally have it in a lot of areas. Consistency is what killed us for so long. Mm-hmm. We're almost there, and we almost have it. It's there.
Yep.
We just got to keep it going.
Yeah, and I'm completely, fine with, like I said, when it comes to preseason, I don't care about wins or losses. I care
No,
about how
absolutely
these
not.
guys are doing. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, if Micah Abraham looks good again this week, then we see it's just like he's going to be pushing himself up, because I think the cornerback room is probably another room that's pretty much up for grabs, and I really don't like that, because I mean, I like Juju, I like Jalen Jones to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I like even Amir Speed, and I know he was a guy last year that was just like, okay, he can come in and be a fringe, you know, fringe backup, whatever it is. But I think the cornerback room is kind of just as open outside of Kenny Moore, in the same way. But
Yep.
if Abraham comes in and he keeps on consistently putting on, then I mean, he's potentially gunning for somebody's spot, which I'm completely fine with, because you create the competition.
Exactly. Create those chips on people's shoulders and see who comes out on top.
Hmm. And that's fine.
Yep, that's totally fine. I mean, I'm all for the best man. I mean, if I played like crap, I didn't. I'll tell my coaches bench me. Like I ain't playing good enough for you right now.
Yep.
Like I don't deserve to play right now. But my score prediction, I think defense lets us fall short again. I think it's gonna be 17-14.
Yeah. 17. Yeah. And like I said, it's just like I can see us potentially maybe getting like a fumble six, or possibly like a pick six.
Mm-hmm.
Just depending, and whoever gets that pick six, they're going to absolutely just go and just do monster things.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I can see somebody definitely, you know, doing some great things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I said, I think 17-14 is good. I think 24-14 is like, yeah, absolutely. So
Absolutely. One last thing, guys. Even though we've been talking about schemes and coaches and players and personnel and this and that, yada yada yada. Guess what? We said at the beginning of the show, football is totally back. Let's hope to see a lot of people at Lucas Oil Stadium this weekend for some good fun. Your Anvil crew will be in Touchdown Town this weekend, so be sure to swing by, say hi, give us a high five, eat some food if there's any left over. Come bang the anvil. Take a shot off the anvil if you want to. We're all going to be there. So come on out, have fun with us. Can't wait to see everybody again. This will be my actually first game at Lucas Oil Stadium this year. I didn't get to make the last one. So I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely my happy place. And I still got your all's attention real quick before we get out of here. Don't forget to subscribe to us, please, on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, whatever. Help us out. It's not hard to go to YouTube and just hit that subscribe button and that little bell. I mean, even if you just tune in once a month, that's cool. Just still subscribe to us, please. It helps us out a lot. And we'll be forever grateful for it. We love everybody that supports us each and every day, each and every week. We do this not only for ourselves, but we do it for you all too. So, but Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we get out of here?
nah, I'm going to say this is a critical time. So let's not all melt down. I know that we all would have loved to have Justin Simmons, but you know what? It is what it is. Like I said, we'll just hope that we get through this next game. Everybody gets healthy, and yeah. Other than that, follow me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan. Follow Horseshoe Mob Podcast also. For everybody who's been commenting and going crazy, because I can't see it because I'm a guest. But hey to everybody. Glad that you tuned in, and yeah, make sure that you're liking and subscribing and commenting. If you're watching from Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube. If you watch from YouTube, subscribe to the Facebook. Just either way, just make sure that you just go ahead and just run the numbers up, get the guys going, all that good stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely. And you can find me at Big Country Colts on X as well. I'm also on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram yet. I'm also on TikTok, Big Country Anvil, if you want to follow me on there as well. But my final thoughts are, Chris, and it's not necessarily Colts related. I got a bone to pick with somebody real quick.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Sammy, but Will Levis. Stop with your mayonnaise loving ass. Just stop. Just stop. Mayonnaise cologne with hints of parsley and hints of coffee and musky smell. No. Just no. No one wants to smell like a freaking bologna sandwich with morning coffee, dude. No one wants to freaking do it. No one wants to do that. So with all that being said, Will Levis, stop. Sammy, take us out of here before we all get sick.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.